Welcome to Ladies Talking Leafs. I'm Chris.
And I'm Sil.
And welcome to June. It's a new month of June. No shortage of Leafs talk to talk about, that's for sure. And we're excited about it. We love it.
Yes, before we get into all the Leaf news, we want to thank everyone who has been subscribing to our YouTube channel. We are now putting our shows on video on YouTube, and our first show that we did that way was on April 17th. And last month, the number of subscribers to our channel grew over 100% over our previous month of April. So that is pretty amazing. And we can't thank you enough for finding us there and watching us.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great to see. And we have lots of videos on there from games that we've attended and from our road trip as well to Carolina earlier in the year. So you can always check those out, and we'll be adding more videos in the future. And make sure you leave us a comment too. We've had a few people leave comments on there saying that they love our show. 5-star. Woohoo. and it's just great. It's a big thing for us for this year to get on YouTube. So we hope to get a lot more people subscribing and watching us on YouTube.
Yeah, and as far as the comments go, it's really good to have dialogue there. From what I gather, that's kind of a hallmark of YouTube, and it's nice to have the dialogue, like not just between us and our fans there, but also Leafs Nation. Like dialogue. It's a place that we can start the conversation, but the conversation doesn't necessarily always have to be with us either. So definitely join our community there and check us out. So as Chris said, we'll be there all summer long. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. Our handle there is at LTL1917.
And also, we want to take the time to thank a few of our Facebook group pages that we follow and that we put in our, we're allowed to put our posts on there from time to time, just to I guess, put out there our podcast and make people aware that we're out there talking Leafs. And so the few pages that we follow or groups that we follow are Toronto Maple Leafs Central, Female Fans of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Friends of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Diehard Toronto Maple Leafs Fans, True Maple Leaf Fan Zone, and Maple Leafs Media. That's the last one. There's a lot of them out there. And obviously, Leafs Nation is everywhere. So there's a lot of groups out there. All of those are great. You get great interaction there. And we've got a lot of people giving us a thumbs up to like our posts. And and we want to engage with you. If you follow our page on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, our handle is the same as YouTube at LTL1917. But we thank those groups for letting us be a part of the group, basically, and just talk Leafs and be a part of Leafs Nation.
Yes, we definitely very much appreciate their support, and we encourage you to check them out. And if you are looking for a great Leafs community to join, because let's face it, we all love talking Leafs. That's a good place to start if you frequent Facebook often.
Yeah.
All right. So since we've got a lot of new subscribers and listeners, we thought it was a good time to take a minute to reintroduce ourselves and let you all know how Ladies Talking Leafs came to be. So, Chris, did you want to start?
Oh, you want me to start? Okay, sure. I'll start. So I basically became a Leaf fan through my late uncle, John. He was a huge Leafs fan and used to always go to the coffee shop, talk Leafs, and he always had the game on Saturday nights and Wednesday night. Wednesday and Saturdays were hockey night, basically, back in the day for watching Hockey Night in Canada. And so I basically got it through him, and we watched the games together, especially on the Saturdays, because during the week, obviously, I was at home going to school, but supposed to be going to school. And then basically I watched it, started in the late 70s, early 80s. My first jersey was number 10, which didn't have a name on it, but it was for John Anderson. who also made great burgers at the time. They had a great burger joint, John Anderson
Mm-hmm.
did. And then my all-time favorite Leaf is Wendell Clark.
And I kind of got into it sort of the same way as Chris. Both of us lifelong Leaf fans. I started watching hockey with my dad primarily. Hockey Night in Canada. You could find me, sitting on my dad's lap watching the game, sometimes falling asleep to the game, like from a very young age. I think there's pictures of me as young as 5 years old, and watching the game with him. I actually do have a brother as well, but much to my mom's chagrin at the time, I became the huge hockey fan, and so the rest is history. And I was a huge fan of goaltenders, really of all sports. So Mike Palmateer was like my first favorite player. But then, in the 90s, which is around the time that Chris and I met and kind of started talking Leafs together, Doug Gilmour was my favorite Leaf at that time. And so literally Chris and I, we met each other working for the same company, and found out that we both had this mutual love of hockey and the Leafs, and just started going to games together, and the rest is history. So that's kind of how the
we met
Ladies Talking Leafs started.
Yeah, it was like a family back then when we went to the games at the Gardens. Yes. And we met a lot of great people we still keep in touch with from that time. And and so throughout the years, we've just been we definitely connected, that's for sure, right? Being both of us Leaf fans and huge Leaf fans. And then, and Sil came to me with this idea back in 2019. And I said, as long as you can figure out the technical end of it, because I'm not too good at that. I said, content wise and just talking Leafs, I'm good for that. I said, right. And then we'll figure out along the way what else comes with it. So we've been going since 2019, and it's been great. We want to keep it going.
Definitely. So that's a little bit about us, and we hope that you continue to follow our journey and connect with us and talk Leafs with us, because that's basically our passion, and we just love being part of Leafs Nation, and it's definitely something that we just love to do and want to continue doing it and providing this content. All right.
Making it better, basically, all the time. That's what we're making it better for you, for the listeners. And we just want to, we're definitely going to keep doing it because we've been doing it this long, and I can't imagine now if we weren't doing it. So
no, exactly. Yeah. All right. So let's get into some hockey talk. We're going to obviously start off with the Leafs announcing the 18th GM in Maple Leafs franchise history, Brad Treliving. And there's obviously a lot of work to do for said new GM with 10 unrestricted free agents. And we'll give our thoughts on who we hope to re-sign and who should maybe be let go. And in our third period segment, we're going to talk a little bit about outgoing Kyle Dubas becoming the president of hockey ops for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And of course, the Stanley Cup Finals just got going, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're each going to give our pick for Cup winner and Conn Smythe Trophy candidates. So, without any further ado, let's talk Leafs.
Okay, so Leafs announced earlier this week Brad Treliving as the new GM, 18th GM in Maple Leafs history. And it's with the draft coming up, and RFA qualifying offer deadlines on June 30th and free agency on July 1st. Brendan Shanahan really didn't have much time to interview a lot of candidates for the new GM. So he had to make a decision within the couple of weeks of letting go Kyle Dubas. And did he make the right choice though in Brad Treliving? I don't know. I mean, I'm comfortable with it because, like I just said, he didn't have a lot of time for anything else. I'm much happier the fact that he didn't choose Mark Bergevin, or I think Jason Botterill was another candidate possibly. Doug Wilson would have been interesting, but then because I did hear that he had some I guess communication with Brendan Shanahan, but but then he's had some, I guess, an illness or something he's been recently going through. Hopefully that's going good, because obviously if he's inquiring about employment again, getting back in the game, then he must be feeling better. But yeah, and Peter Chiarelli was another one. So I don't know. I just think the fact there really wasn't anybody else that had the experience, right? Like,
no. And like any of the candidates that, we would have really wanted, all of them are working.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And none of them are going to be fired. So,
yeah.
This was obviously a situation of Shanahan's doing, in a sense, because, they made the call to pull the trigger on letting Kyle walk, basically not renewing his deal. So out of what was available, I think that Treliving probably was the best candidate, really. And
well, he's made, I looked up some of the trades, because they obviously, the most recent one everybody talks about now is the one between Matthew Tkachuk and Huberdeau, which is, I mean, I think you really have to give it another year to see. I mean, obviously he's doing great in Florida. For Florida, it's been a great deal, right? Everybody thought it was going to be the reverse, right? But it might just take this past season. And obviously the coaching situation with Daryl Sutter there, I don't think went over very well for the whole season. So there's a lot of things that went on there. But the other trade that he made, which I didn't know, was he traded Dougie Hamilton. I knew Dougie Hamilton, Michael Furlan, but Adam Fox was part of that deal too. Apparently he wouldn't sign with Calgary Flames. And so they dealt him to the Hurricanes for Noah Hannafin and Elias Lindholm. So Elias Lindholm, obviously, that he was part of their top line, let's say, when Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau were there. But Adam Fox apparently wouldn't sign in Calgary, and then he wouldn't even sign in Carolina. He said that he would only go to the Rangers.
Yeah.
So Carolina ended up trading him to the Rangers. And obviously Adam Fox is obviously a Norris Trophy winner now, right? Like he won the Norris. But I didn't realize that the start for Adam Fox was with Calgary. And so I mean so that's the thing. He's dealt with big name players too, like this, right? So he has that experience. So that's another thing that I think is obviously going to be very valuable come as everyone's talking about Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and in a couple of years, Mitch Marner. So yeah. One thing though, I just wanted to mention too, I thought it was interesting that he won't be at the draft table for this upcoming draft at the end of June, because I guess his deal with Calgary, it doesn't end until June 30th.
Yeah, so just the same as Dubas, actually.
Well, that's what I didn't understand, but we'll get to Mr. Dubas there in a bit. But
so it's possible the same rules apply to him. So
no,
I guess
they don't.
They don't?
No.
The Leafs didn't put that stipulation?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, no.
It's probably because it's the Leafs, to tell you the truth. And it's all about optics, I guess.
But going back to Treliving here, we only have 3 picks in this upcoming draft. We have Boston's first round pick, a 5th and a 6th round pick. So to me, all the the decisions have already been made. Let's just say,
I agree.
They always say the scouts for scouting and that they know which players are within that vicinity. So if some other team takes the player they wanted, there's always the second choice or the third choice, right? And normally, so I don't know that will make that much of a difference.
It's not like he can't talk to the team that's in place about it.
Yeah, no.
Before
I'm sure he could get on the cell phone.
There's something called cell phones now. So, I'm pretty sure he's going to be texting and he'll be behind the wings somewhere. But I don't really see that as a big deal. And I guess it's just Calgary's way of basically feigning that, they don't want to make it look like it was too easy.
Yeah. So what did you think of Treliving, what he had to say at the his press conference when he
I found it all a little underwhelming, to say the least. Yeah. And I think that was, kind of a criticism on a lot of people's parts, but at the same time, what did we expect was going to be said? It's like, this wasn't a change like you normally get, like when you fire your GM because they're not performing and you want to bring in somebody to make a change. And then that person comes in and then they start spouting, I'm going to do this. And this is what I want to see. And da, 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 da.
Yeah.
They offered Dubas a contract. So, when this guy comes in, it's not so much about the changes that he's going to make, is more that, what kind of, it's not necessarily the plan that we're talking about. It's the man that we want to see, how does he operate? Is he a good person? I actually thought that he's much more of a hockey guy than Kyle Dubas, in a sense.
Right.
Kyle Dubas looks like a NBA corporate. So in a sense, I know we're going to talk about it later, the position he's moved to is more in that wheelhouse.
Yeah.
This guy I think he's definitely going to be add a new, something different with regards to how he seems to be with the players. I think he's quite involved, from what I hear, with getting to know the players. He's visible.
Yeah, he said
he's
that
approachable.
He said that he's traveling basically not just to see Austin Matthews, but to see quite a few players wherever they are right now. So,
and as much as like Dubas was definitely a team friendly, player friendly GM, I just kind of get a different, like there's like a little bit of a different feel there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that does. I think
so
by all accounts.
What you're saying when you're saying it was kind of boring, let's just say, like that wasn't.
Well, it's not that it was boring. It's just that it didn't really like. There wasn't a lot of need in it.
What I got from it was that it was basically like what Shanahan said in his press conference when to announce that Kyle Dubas has been let go and to answer those questions. But it was kind of like, because there's this strong belief in the core four. For me, I'm just thinking they're just running it back again. I don't know. It's going to be very
well. They might, but the thing is, I think he likes to work from the goal out. I think
yes,
Treliving.
yeah.
So
he's definitely
my guess is that he's going to want to start there. And the one thing that I kind of feel is that I don't think that there would be a GM out there that wouldn't, like, every GM would covet these players from afar.
Oh yeah.
And be like, I can't wait to get my hands on this team with these guys, because what he said is right. It's hard to get talent like this. And yes, it seems like it's like, we're just going to run it back. But if I were him, I wouldn't want to get rid of my best baubles. I haven't had a chance to play with them yet.
Yeah. Not when
you know what I mean?
it. Yeah. Yeah. No. And that's kind of what he said as well. And like other things he said, like just being different doesn't make you better, which is what Shanahan obviously said
true
too. And it's not about 4 players. I like this comment where he said it's not about 4 players. It's about a team.
But you know what's hilarious is that there's a lot of criticism out there in the interwebs about that comment. And I felt the same as you, that I feel like that was part of Dubas's culture, because it's always about the core 4.
Yes. Yeah.
And with that, like there's entitlement there and security and all of that. So when it becomes less about them and more about the team, I like that approach. And if that is the mindset and, culture that he's going to foster, that's a good thing, because then they'll play more as a team and all the pressure won't be on them too. And because there is that whole thing of that, if they don't do it, no one's going to do it. Yes. And the other part of the team, which is the other, 3/4, also is got that mindset. Like it's pervasive. So they know that they're not the ones that are supposed to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's part of the message too, when he said his job is to protect players in a way. That's how he's protecting it, by making it what it should be, which is more of a team concept. It's the whole,
Yes.
it's about the team, not about the four players. So I don't know. It's, I guess, he does have to, I can't see him making that big move of trading. Well, they can't trade John Tavares anyways. That's fine. We'll forget about that. So any of the three players, Matthews, Marner, and Nylander, like he doesn't want to be on record after like what, he's here for like a month and he's going to say, oh yeah, I'm trading Mitch Marner for whatever sort of thing, right?
He's not Brian Burke.
No, he doesn't have
Brian
that.
Burke would do something like that. Yeah, but he doesn't. Out of all the guys that have come in the last decade or so, he doesn't seem to have that kind of same approach as I want to be the make your mark person.
Yeah.
You know, it's like almost like he fell into this. He's like grateful, and he's going to, obviously he realizes that this is such an incredible thing that's, you know, fallen in his lap basically.
Yeah.
And he's going to really make the best of it. But he hasn't come in like a knight on a white horse and said, I'm going to be the one to take us to the promised land, like so many other people, including Dubas in a way, have sort of approached it. So we'll see if that makes a difference, if that's sort of, you know.
What did you think of his comments about Sheldon Keefe?
Well, I think that I think that is a decent way to approach it. I mean, like even when Shanahan came in, you know, he didn't make a change right away. He hasn't been a bad coach. And who's to say that without his buddy there, like sometimes when you are with your friends, you're in the same patterns that you've always been in, you know, and they have that security too between the two of them. It's like, you know, us against the world kind of thing. And you don't have to make changes necessarily in the same way you would if you don't have that security. And who's to say that that Sheldon Keefe might not become a better coach, you know, with a new voice. Somebody that is going to give him a little bit of a different, you know, be like a different sounding board than what he's used to. But I don't think that he's got a very long leash. And I think that he's going to have to get to know him and find out if he can trust him, because, you know, that's the other thing. Like if he's really close to somebody else who's in another market now. I don't know.
Well, that's kind of funny though, because with Dubas, like he has Mike Sullivan there. Like there's no way.
Well, and they won't. I don't think they're not going to let him get rid of him.
No, there's no way. So, like he's very big and popular in the Pittsburgh market, and he already has his connections there and everything. So,
and he's like, I think he's got quite a lot of years left on his deal,
probably
too.
Yeah. But no, I just find it interesting, like with Sheldon Keefe, because he's obviously proven he's got the most points for the team in the regular season, 2 seasons in a row. But it's just it's in the playoffs that, yes, he got by the first round. We cannot forget that. We actually did win the first round finally. And that was like a huge relief. You could even see it for him. He jumped for like with all the, all the other coaches, which, just a quick note too, like Spencer Carberry now is gone as well. So there is one coach, because he went off to be the head coach of the Washington Capitals. So whether Sheldon Keefe gets to hire that new assistant coach there, or if Treliving is going to kind of maybe have one of his guys, but then you don't know how Sheldon Keefe would approach that sort of thing, to have one of Treliving's guys waiting in the wings, kind of like the Babcock thing. I think that will be telling.
Yes. Yeah. You know, and that will tell us everything we need to know about how short the leash really is.
Yeah.
So,
and the other thing Treliving has to do is there's decisions with the Marlies, because basically Shanahan got rid of everybody there with the coaching staff. And then apparently Dubas really hired a lot of people that had like shared his vision within MLSE. He has a huge amount of people there, apparently, that he hired. And so now Treliving, basically they're saying we'll have to review all those, and you never know, there might be more people.
Well, and
they
no doubt that Dubas is going to also try to poach people to build his team, because he fired a whole whackload of people like right away.
Yeah, he did. There was 3 big names there that I have it for our next segment. But yeah, so they want it. Obviously, Treliving wants it to be in line with his vision, which his vision, like you said, it's from the goaltender out and a lot about defense, like the defense.
Which brings me to wondering if, because apparently when he was in Calgary, like Brody was one of the chips that he wanted to deal.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's going to be looking to move that contract again now.
You never know. But I guess him and Giordano, obviously it's going to be a benefit for Treliving right now to have them as 2 players that he knew, that he worked with, or they played for him before. So that'll be good. But so lots of work, let's just say, like we said in the intro, for Brad Treliving. But and in the coming week, well, I mean, I think he's already on a plane to Arizona, if he's not there already, to meet with Austin Matthews. We'll see what happens there. And
he's a good hockey man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he has experience, definitely 9 years in that market, and he even had before that with
the experience. He's very well thought of, very well very well respected.
Yeah.
So he's not a bad hire.
Total opposite of what Shanahan did with Kyle Dubas, right?
Yes.
Like Kyle Dubas, basically, and we're gonna end these whole connections with Sault Ste. Marie.
Well, that is the thing, is that, you know what, now, Dubas can sign all of his Sault Ste. Marie boys. Maybe he'll trade for Matt Murray and get him back there. Wouldn't that be nice? Really? That could be a good thing for us, that he covets these people so much. So
we'll see.
We don't have to hear about that anymore.
Yeah. But another item on the Treliving's to-do list is working through the 10 UFA and 3 RFAs, which the RFAs include goaltender Ilya Samsonov. So let's just go through the list here one by one to say who we think should stay and who might be headed out of town. All right, so we're going to start off with Leafs Nation, one of the favorites, I guess, Alexander Kerfoot.
He's gone.
What do you think? You think he's gone?
Yeah, I'm just going to answer. Stay's gone.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Because with him, I was researching a little bit too, sort of thing, because I do like him.
I like him too.
He was on our Lady Song Leafs highlight reel a few times right, this season. He made it up there, but 29 years old, and basically, I can see the similarities when they say Kalle Järnkrok. He's like a similar type player that can do that up and down the lineup thing. Like he can be that similar type player. And then they said that
and actually Treliving had Järnkrok in Calgary too.
Yeah, and Pontus Holmberg is kind
also,
of a similar
I'm
type. I'm
curious to see what happens with him.
Yeah, and they're both cheaper, basically, or will be cheaper versions.
100%.
So yeah. All right. So we're both saying he's going. Yes. Ryan O'Reilly. 32 years old. And I mean, for me, I would like to keep him. I don't think he will, only because
I bought
of the
socks.
Money. Yeah, they made the socks they had to make them really quickly too.
Yeah.
Right. But if they can fit him in, then I would say, like definitely. If he wants to take a little slim bit of like off of the salary of it, I don't know.
But I don't think
he's gonna do that. So no. I'm gonna say that he's gonna be gone as well. And bad thing I did hear was that he might be gone to Pittsburgh.
What?
Yes, I did hear that. But let's move on.
That would be brutal.
Yeah. David Kampfer.
He's gone. He's also gone to Pittsburgh.
No.
Likely.
No. I want
You don't think so?
No.
You think he stays? Yes. I don't think so.
I think he stays at this little bit more money because there's nobody. Who are we going to get for? He's good on the penalty kill. He's low maintenance player.
Well, yeah, that's true, but he might feel like he could get more somewhere else.
I don't know if he could get more.
we actually made him into an offensive superstar here.
Yeah, but
he might not be as great anywhere else, to tell you the truth, because Keefe, that's one guy that Keefe really uses well.
Yes, yeah,
and trusts him 100%. So
yeah, because he's dependable, and
so in that case, like Keefe may, let's assume that he's staying in the role.
Yeah.
That's one guy that he might say, look, I want to try to keep him.
Yeah, because right now he's making 1.5 million on a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Per year 1.5. So I mean, if you give him a little bit of a bump on the raise,
like as high as 2.5?
No.
No?
Like around 2.
So that's what I mean, though. Like he could get 2.5 somewhere else.
Yeah, but well, again, I guess it's what Treliving said too. It's about, this is the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Do you want to be, if you don't want to be a Leaf, then, because there's certain, I mean, it's obviously good and bad in every market, but here it's an extreme, let's just say. And I don't know, it depends. I hope he's, well, I want him back, and I think he's going to come back.
The truth of the matter is that we are a lot closer than most. Like, as much as we are also disappointed, and everything seems like a bigger disaster than anywhere else here when things don't go right, we're a perennial contender.
Yes. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
The only reason we wouldn't be is if St. Matthews decides to not sign.
Yeah.
Then we're going to be perennial at the bottom probably. But the point is that we are closer than 95% of the league.
Yes. Yeah.
To always being for sure going to the dance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only to getting your shot. And that's what you want. So players have the choice to go someplace else for more money, but I guess it just boils down to how bad do you want to win? And on another layer is, how bad do you want to win here? Because there will be nothing like it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah. They still haven't, I mean, I guess it was good. Well, it was good. The fact that they got that small taste with the first series win, but I mean, that's round 1 of this, right? They didn't even get like past round 2 and beyond. Like that would be insanity.
You remember what happened in 93 when we got over, that's the first hump we had in a while. And we had
well, there was horses on the police were on horses on Carlton Street.
And there was that huge rally. There wasn't quite the parade, but we were there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was. Okay, let's go back to our list.
Yes.
So David Kampf, I say he stays. You say he's going.
Yeah.
Noel Achari
stays.
I say he stays too.
I think he really wants to stay.
He really wants to stay. He had a 1-year deal at 1.25 million. I looked it up, and if again, I'm hoping if we can give him a little bit of a raise, obviously, that he will. He seems to like it here. He's been like ever since the end of the season. He publicly said that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree on that one.
So here's an interesting one.
I'm sad about this one. Michael Bunting. Yeah.
He's a Sioux Greyhound, so he's not going to be back.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think. And actually the next guy too. So our Scarborough connection's not going to be there anymore, unfortunately.
I don't think so.
But
do you think Simmons is going to retire? Or do you think he's going to try to play again?
No, but nobody's picked him up. I think he should really contemplate. Like he's had a lot of time. Well, not a lot, but a few months anyways to because nobody was picking him up when he was put on waivers and stuff. Right. So, I mean, teams would but then I guess the cap situation changes now, let's say for all teams. Right. So you never know. Somebody might, but I
think retiring as a Leaf would be pretty great. And it gives him a really good platform to do a lot of things as well within the community, which he likes to do.
Yeah.
And has a great voice in. So, he works a lot with kind of, urban kids that don't necessarily get a chance to play hockey. I think this gives him a platform to do those things if he retires a Leaf.
If he retires. Yeah. And Michael Bunting, I just think he didn't. I don't think the relationship, as much as they say it's nothing, but I just don't think the relationship with Sheldon Keefe, like if Keefe's still assuming he's still the coach, that I just don't think it's great. Let's just say, and I also just think that he played well with obviously with Matthews and Marner, but there was never anything else like because he's basically replaced Zach Hyman, right? That was our replacement, our cheap replacement for Zach Hyman. And he did a great job his first year. He was Calder Trophy nominee, but yeah, I just think he's not as versatile as Zach Hyman was. And he could only really play well with Matthews and Marner. You never really noticed him otherwise. And and
this is also his chance to cash in a little bit. He's never going to get another chance to get as big a contract as he could get now.
Yeah. And I do
because it's a really bad free agent pool this year. Like there's not really a lot of great guys. And if he's like one of the top picks, potentially he could cash in. And
I think he's going to cash in with Kyle Dubas and go play for Pittsburgh. I do think he's one of the players.
And they might think that, he's somebody who could play with Sid.
Yeah.
Spark things.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Zach Aston Reese.
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think so?
No.
Oh, I think he's gone. Yeah. I don't think you could find another player like him.
He was a great role filler and came in at a good price and was willing to, basically the Leafs gave him a great shot to revive his career on that PTO, and that's why he's willing to do it. Like, that's basically what our team has been every off season is a breeding ground for guys that want to get their game back. The Leafs do put a lot into development. Also, getting to play with good players can make you look a lot better than you are sometimes. So, I kind of feel like he's sort of a dime a dozen and he was good for us, but I think you can find lots of guys like him.
Yeah. Justin Hall. No, he cannot be.
Well, I suppose it all depends because we know that Keefe loves him.
Yes, that's no.
It depends on how well Treliving kind of knows him and how much Keefe sells him. And how little he's willing to take.
Our Ladies Talking Leafs insider Mike Agello would be very upset if Justin Hall is back, I think. Right? So, no, I can't see him signing him, especially Treliving the way he is. Like, once he maybe reviews some tapes of the defense, I don't think Justin Hall would stand out in a positive way, and he could find a replacement for him. Luke Schenn is next.
I think he stays.
Yeah, I think he stays too, even though apparently Tampa was like right away at the end of the season. Somebody from, I guess, the manager there, I forget what his name is, but he, of Tampa Bay Lightning, he already approached Schenn to try and get him to sign down there again, but I think he likes it here. And
well, he's won with them, and he also experienced what it was like to win one round here.
Yeah.
And he knows that it will be really different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's been there and done that with Tampa. So I hope that it like he said, it does mean something to come back here and appreciate it differently.
Well, that's what he really, I think that's important in the room too. We talked about it when he did come here and how he was just, like he said, he was so appreciative to have the second opportunity to be a Maple Leaf. So yeah, I expect him to sign here. Eric Gustafsson, I think he's not going to be here. Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't really given a chance here. And I don't know.
No, and
so many.
His game is not, I don't think, even though to what they want to do.
Even though I would like to have the second option for the power play, like to somebody have, like, we need somebody to be a setup person for the power play. But I just don't think he's not the right fit. And I think Treliving will have to go out there and find somebody else for that. All right. Moving on to the RFAs. The biggest one is Ilya Samsonov. So I think he stays. I want him to. I think he fits in well with the team. Just and it's exactly what one of my friends in Washington there said. Like his character is he's just so easygoing and just likable guy, and he was steady in well, more than steady in net. Like especially down the stretch of the end of the season,
Mhm.
I think
And he
really
played great in the playoffs too.
yeah. But the thing
Like
that
our goaltending was
yeah,
not the reason at all for
no,
us. I mean,
but
he
probably
outplayed Vasilevsky in that first round.
yeah, and he
Without
probably
question.
if he had more rest, but because of the
Yes.
stupid situation with Matt Murray
Exactly.
screwing him over and screwing us over, like that basically, if he had that option to have more rest, he probably would have been even better. But down the stretch, he had to basically play every game. So,
and I kind of feel like, some of the things that were question marks with him, were, the way he deals with adversity. And I really think that he exercised some of those demons this year, like
yeah,
he overcame, that bad outings that he had when he first went back to Washington. Remember how that was like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
But he got over that, and, he was able to get past that. Then the playoffs, it was looking rocky at the beginning. And the whole thing about him not, having such a poor playoff record,
Yeah.
he more than got over that.
Yeah.
So I think that, that he has come a long way, like on the ice, but especially like mentally.
And I think he'll be like, hopefully, like from what Joseph Wall showed us towards the end of the season too, that'll be a good tandem, and they'll
100%.
be able to play like 60-40 of the games. So yeah.
So it's just a question on whether or not Treliving will be able to do something with that Murray contract. And
yeah. All right. And then Victor Mete, he's an RFA. I think he's gone. He's
I doubt they're going to give him a qualifying
size wise.
offer.
He's small for a D-man. And I don't think they're going to offer him like a qualifying offer.
No.
And Pontus Holmberg, yes, I think. He's 24 years old, right winger. He played the 37 games. I just looked it up to refresh my memory because I knew he played quite a few games with us. And
he was really good.
And he was good. Yeah, it was just but I think the November, he played November, December, and January through those 3 months. And I think towards the end in January, he started, I think there was a bit of fatigue.
Yeah.
They were saying like he wasn't
just
quite
not
used to playing
the pace
grind
and that kind of grinding game.
Yeah. So hopefully though,
but they know that what he has to work on now, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And he's cheap, like we said earlier, or he was cheap at a 2-year deal. It was $827,000 that he was making. So whatever, if he can give him a little bit of a bump up, or if around the same, whatever, that would be good. So yeah, and so those are all of our UFAs and RFAs. Yeah, and we'll be revisiting this definitely after July 1st. Yeah.
All right. Well, Brad Treliving has a lot of important negotiations and decisions to make, obviously, this offseason. And his predecessor, Kyle Dubas, will also be busy as Penguins president of hockey operations. So in our third period segment, we're going to chat about the former Leafs GM and how he moved on. And we're also reminded that the Stanley Cup playoffs are going on. So we're going to chat a little bit about that. So.
All right. Yeah. So for our third period segment, let's start off with Kyle Dubas. So I don't know. Kyle made a pretty quick decision to move on to join the Penguins. As president of hockey ops. Maybe question a little bit what he said, like at his presser. I don't know.
A little bit?
Yeah, just a tiny bit. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, what do you think? Like, I do think it had a little bit obviously about the autonomy, like the making the hockey, the decisions.
Sure.
That's basically what it was.
This proves that he wants Shanahan's job. He wanted Shanahan's job.
Yeah.
Ultimately. And he knew,
yeah,
like when Shanahan didn't get fired, he knew he wasn't getting that job.
Right.
I also kind of feel, I remember how I said during his press conference, Kyle Dubas's press conference, I felt like he was conflicted.
Yeah.
Now I know why he was conflicted.
Yeah.
Because I think he already knew that they were coveting him and that he had this chance to have Shanahan's job somewhere else.
Right.
Also, I'm sure that it was true that this was difficult, a hard year for his family.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, his wife is so instrumental in him taking this job now and moving his family to the States.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like that's where the conflict was, is that obviously he came here and he took this job because winning with the Maple Leafs is something. Right?
It will be something. Yeah.
And
yeah,
it definitely will be something. And that is, he had to decide if he was ready to give that up. And we know in a sense that he wasn't really.
No. And that's like the way you said, he was conflicted. And I guess he said it's funny though, because of the way his presser went, I guess Pittsburgh had it like 30 minutes before Brad Treliving was announced as the Leafs GM.
Yeah, I thought that was like.
And the media, though, it was funny here. The media in Toronto said it was because Pittsburgh didn't want any Toronto media make it down there to ask him those tough questions, but he's going to have to face them eventually, obviously.
I bet that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yes. Yeah. That's what was said about that, but he's going to have to answer to it. And what do you think of this idea, though? Now they're saying that there's going to be like this huge rivalry between Pittsburgh and Toronto now. Like, I don't know.
You know what? I think that it will end after the first game, so long as the media don't keep feeding it. Like, honestly, I'm ready to move on from Kyle Dubas. He's not our GM anymore, but for the media, it's a great story. And as long as the camera keeps panning up to the visitor's box to show him when we play the Penguins all the time, like, I don't understand what it is about him that people care this much. Like, what is it?
I know.
Like, what makes him so special?
Pittsburgh really coveted him, and
we've had GMs for this team for 100 freaking years.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's so great about this guy? What's so special?
I don't know. He didn't do much here.
No, and right? I'm a Dubas. I like Dubas. Yeah. I liked his vision. I liked the things that he did. I would have been perfectly happy if he would have stayed.
Yeah.
But he's not our GM anymore, and I'm ready to move on.
Yeah. 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 And what do you think? Well, is he in a better position to win with the Penguins?
No.
I don't know. I've read a few things and I'm like, their star players are in their mid-30s now.
He has a core four problem there, but they're like the aging core four.
And I didn't know this, but they haven't had a top 20 pick in the past decade. Pittsburgh hasn't. Mm-hmm. So they have no top young prospects. And now he might have to find a goalie because Tristan Jarry is I think he's a UFA or an RFA.
Well, there's a former Sioux Greyhound available.
Yeah, really. But no, who's supposed to be available or could be going there with going back.
When you think that he'll get Hellebuck?
No. My friend Freddie Anderson.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Did you hear that?
I did hear that. But do you think Freddie would go there with the history that he has with Dubas, hanging him out to dry?
I don't know. But they have $20 million. The Pens have $20 million in cap space. So he has a lot of money and he's going to be the, I guess he's not hiring a GM right now at this moment.
Of course not. Of course he's not.
Yes. Yeah.
He's going to work this like as long as he can.
Yeah.
This way.
Yeah. And then they said also
he wants to get his team in place before he allows somebody else to get their hands on it.
Yeah. But they also, or what we were talking about earlier, and you mentioned how he fired some front office staff. He fired his director of hockey strategy in Pittsburgh, the senior VP, sports science and performance, and the director of pro scouting. So he's fired all those already just coming in.
So I guess he's going to try to hire Wes Clark as soon as the draft's over.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Wes Clark is like his buddy.
Yeah.
That's one hire I could see going over there.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we were saying with Treliving, there's a lot of people in our office that our Kyle Dubas's
Yeah, I heard a really funny comment, and I can't remember who said it, but you know how a lot of people were. It was they were in an athletic article where somebody said was a source that said that they were all in mourning, like staffers.
Yeah.
And so somebody said, so all Treliving has to do is go up to people. Are you still in mourning? Yes, I'm in mourning. Okay, you're fired. Are you in mourning? Yes, I'm in mourning. Okay, you're fired.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the front office too, just like on the ice, it's all about the team. It's all about the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's not about who you work for.
Yeah.
It is about the product on the ice, and that is all that matters. Everybody should be grateful as all heck that they work for that company. Every company is going to have some good and bad things. No job is going to be perfect all the time, but the end game is that you work for this franchise.
Yeah. The other thing I heard from Dubas too, he said he's going to be, I don't know, the hire for GM is going to be something different or something, and like he's going to go in some different direction with that. So then a lot of people were saying maybe we'll have our first female GM, which would be Haley Wickenheiser.
Yeah,
they were saying that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. What Kyle.
Well, says, if he does that, more power to him. You know, that's fine and good for her.
Yeah,
she's going to have a hard time working as a doctor in Toronto and doing that job.
Yeah. But
if that happens,
if it happens, but yeah, no, I just think it's going to be. He's got it tough there with those 35, 36-year-old players that are.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, he's got a lot less pressure because I don't think that they brought him in for the short game. They brought him in for the long game.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah. So, I don't know. They want to win though, because
they do want to win, but I don't think that they expect that they're going to win this year or next year, or maybe necessarily even with Sid and Malkin.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll
because Fenway, it's not about the Penguins. Okay, that is the difference between.
Yeah, but the Penguins in that market are big.
Yes, but the Fenway group, it's not about the Penguins. The Fenway group is the Penguins. It's Fenway. It's the Liverpool. It's this sports corporation that they are building. And they want them all to be competitive.
Right.
So there's a long game there. It's not like MLSE, which is all about basically the Leafs and Toronto teams. You know what I mean? They're not expanding, buying like a premiership team.
International,
They're not doing that. Yeah. It is all about the Leafs for our corporation.
Yeah.
That is the difference, which is why I say it's a long game. Which is why they want to win, but it's not the same.
Yeah. Well, which is why we won't have a second team. That was funny. Somebody actually asked about a second team in Toronto yesterday to Gary Bettman in the Cup final press conference, changing the subject for a second. And he's like, well, nobody's approached me for that. Like, I don't even think a second team would go here. But anyways, that's
I mean, a lot of people think that it would, but I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't know. Like, there's enough people, but I don't know. Anyways, that's a different story for another day. But let's leave Kyle Dubas for now and go on to the next topic here.
Yes. So let's move on to the game that's still on the ice, which is the Stanley Cup, which is not yet being awarded for this season 22-23. So far, like obviously we've only had one game so far in the series, which happened last night. So what do you think about
I was happy.
matchup so far?
I was happy that Florida lost, of course, and they showed their colors there. And I mean, I don't really care personally who wins, because as is nobody in Canada, I don't think really cares either, being a Southern type of. I mean, there are a lot of Canadian players playing on both.
And actually,
teams.
Vegas has the most Canadians.
Yeah, so
on their roster.
Yeah, I'm picking Vegas. It's not to say that I know it's the obviously it's a newer franchise in the league, only 6 seasons, but I like Mark Stone. I don't mind him as a player. You don't like him?
No, it's like I think that goes back to his
Ottawa?
Ottawa Senators days.
Yeah, but
I don't really like him.
I don't mind him, and yeah, I just think that I just don't like, more so, I don't like Sam Bennett, and I really don't like Matthew Tkachuk either, right? I mean, it's one of those players like Brady, his brother. You like him on your team if he's there, but I just don't like him. I just don't like their personalities, and yeah, and I'm picking Vegas, and I'm thinking for the Conn Smythe winner, I'm picking Jonathan Marchessault for to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. And I do have to say, the Conn Smythe Trophy, I actually love seeing that trophy more than the Stanley Cup, until the Leafs win it, of course, because the Conn Smythe Trophy is the picture, or not the picture, but the trophy of Maple Leaf Gardens, and the big maple leaf in the back. I always look at that and I'm like, oh, Maple Leafs are there always when the Stanley Cup is being presented.
That is a really, really good point.
Yes.
So I have to completely differ with you on this, because
we talked about this before the show started a bit.
Yeah. And actually it was a little bit more animated than this is right now. I think we've calmed down a little bit, but I do not want to see Vegas win this at all, because they have no business as such a young franchise. And the fact that their owner, when they first came into the league, said by year 6, we're going to win a cup, and it potentially could happen. As a long, starving, suffering Leaf fan, cannot allow that. That is to me the worst karma ever. I do not want to see that.
At least though, with Vegas, at least they've been steady all year long. I don't like these teams that are basically horrible all season.
Yeah, just get in, squeak in.
Just get in. Pittsburgh.
All of the things you say make so much sense, but I still cannot bring myself. No, I can't.
To say that you want them. All right.
No.
Well, I don't know.
Our 100-year history and their 6-year freaking history, I cannot allow it. And I'm sorry, Vegas, because I love going to games in your arena, and it's so fun, and I just love the show,
the atmosphere,
and the entertainment and all of that. But I am sorry, there needs to be more pain, and I do not want them to win. As far as the Florida Panthers go, I actually have come around on Matthew Tkachuk. I think he's a real, I guess what they call a unicorn. There is something different and special about him. He is not elite, he's elite in some things, but he's not great at everything. He's not the best skater. But he never stops working, and he is the engine of that team. And it's ironic that he and Mitch Marner were teammates on the London Knights, because they are both engines of their team, but in completely different ways. And he has really elevated his team. So I have just so much more time for him. Do I love playing against him? Am I going to cheer against him when we're playing against him again? 100%, because I hate him when we're playing against him. But now that we're not playing against him, I can appreciate him, some of his qualities that I wish some of our players had so much. And
for sure. Yeah. No,
and as far as Conn Smythe goes, my picks would be, if Florida wins, which I'm sort of hoping, yes, I 100% agree. The fact that they just squeaked in, all of that, it's terrible. It's a terrible story if they win. I mean, it's a good story, but it's a bad story. But Bobrovsky, the first game, probably his worst game of the playoffs so far, maybe.
I think the layoff didn't.
I think so. I was just going to say, it's going to take him a little bit of time, even though they were going on about how it wouldn't be an issue. But if he can't get his game back, then it's over for them for sure.
The other thing,
if they win, he will be the Conn Smythe winner. Yeah. Even if they lose, provided it goes 7 games or something, he could still be the Conn Smythe winner. Yeah. My second choice would be Tkachuk, probably.
The only person that I don't mind on Florida is their head coach being a former Leaf coach.
Oh yes,
of course,
I love Maurice, and that's another reason why I would be totally happy if they won.
The other reason why I like the head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights is because he can screw the Boston Bruins, basically.
Yeah, there's a story there too. I agree with you.
I like that too. With Bruce Cassidy as the former Bruins coach getting.
Yeah, there'd be something to be said for him, as total redemption. being cut loose. Yeah. And they don't get past the first round, and he takes it all the way. So,
yeah.
But I don't know. Vegas very well could win it. They're a very big team. They have a lot of speed. They basically took it to them, but I would never count out
playing
Florida.
Playoff hockey. Like last night, the game on Saturday night, both teams were. It was a good playoff game. I enjoyed watching it. A lot of grinding, hitting, after the whistle stuff, whatever. I like that kind of game, and some good goaltending too. But yeah, we'll see what happens the rest of the way. But we do want to give a reminder of a few more important dates coming up on the NHL calendar. So June 15th, and there's quite a few of them here, so we're just going to run through them. June 15th, or 48 hours after the Cup final is done, is the first player buyout period opens. The reason why I put that in there is, of course, because of Matt Murray, maybe, if there's any potential about that.
What do you think about, what do you think will happen with Muzzin potentially?
Yeah, that's the other thing, but I think,
would that be like another year-long LTIR
thing? Yeah, I heard that too. So so there's that, and then June 30 at 5 p.m. Eastern is the deadline for clubs to tender qualifying offers to RFAs, which that would be obviously important for Ilya Samsonov to get that qualifying offer in, or to offer, or I think they can actually offer like a contract or have a framework for a contract in place for him. And also on June 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern is the first player buyout period window ends. So they basically have 2 weeks for the buyout for that first buyout period.
And June 30th is a very important date in the NHL because also on June 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, the RFA contact period begins. So clubs can begin contacting restricted free agents who received a qualifying offer to discuss possible offer sheets.
Yeah, so
and then July 1st, obviously at 12 p.m. Eastern is when the RFA and UFA signing period opens. And yesterday, Gary Bettman confirmed also that the NHL All-Star Game will be held on February 3rd at Scotiabank Arena.
Yay! So that'll be fun to have all the, I guess, the stuff that goes along with the All-Star Game. So,
and we're hoping that we'll be able to be down there and get lots of great content for you guys here on this show.
Yeah, and get a lot of video on YouTube and across social media. But yeah, so we're hoping about that. And the only reason why I put in that idea of the offer sheet there on June 30 about the RFA contact period, I'm just like, will there be an offer sheet? There's rarely any time that there is, but no, whatever. It's there. It's a possibility for the restricted free agents. So yeah, busy times, and we're going to have it all covered for you. We will be going beyond July 1st, which with our patio season episodes, while most of the NHL takes a holiday for the NHL media anyways, we're going to be publishing in July and August and monthly episodes. And as always, if there's any big Leaf news, we'll do a bonus episode. So yeah, be sure to follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Our handle is at LTL1917. And a reminder to be sure to leave us a rating or review and let us know what you think of the show. It's easy on Apple and Spotify, and it's important for our show to get more exposure as a source for Leaf content. And we thank you for taking the time.
Yes, so we're going to be working hard all summer for you guys. Yeah. So another way you can help us out is by visiting our Ko-fi page at Ko-fi.com. You can follow us there, and if you choose to, you can support us by buying us a coffee. Any donation you give goes towards helping us produce the show and making it even better for you. So you can find the link to our Ko-fi page on our show notes or in any of our social media profile pages.
Yeah. And as always, we want to say thank you to our healthcare workers and first responders for everything that they do.
So thanks as always for listening and watching. And we're wishing all the dads a happy Father's Day coming up. And until next time, go Leafs, go!